If there was a way to rewire your brain to no longer crave adult content, how easy would that make it to quit? Think about it. Because if you give me a couple of minutes, I'll break down the system that turned me from being 10 years addicted to the P word to now being able to free myself. And I've helped over 300 men also take back their lives from adult content without using blockers or willpower. Because this is not a willpower problem. It never was. What's really going on behind the scenes is a wiring problem. So the reason you keep going back is because that's what you trained your brain to do. And that's what Neuro Reprogramming helps untrain. So by the end of this video, you'll understand how Neuro Reprogramming can help you break free for good starting tonight. Because like I mentioned, the P word isn't the problem. In your mind, it's actually the solution. Because that's the behavior loop that you found yourself in. And I'll explain what that is right now. What happens is a trigger occurs, and then you have an automatic behavior associated with the trigger. Then you get the reward, and then the cycle just continues. So how that looks like in this case would be a trigger can be a stressful day at work or a lonely night. The associated behavior is scrolling on social media or going to private websites to help you feel better. And the only reason you think you're feeling better is because these pixels on the screen are fooling your brain and giving it huge amounts of this feel-good stimulation. And then your brain tries to remember that feeling. So whenever you have another lonely night or another stressful day, your brain goes down the path of making you feel better. And that's how we keep ending up in this cycle of going back to adult content, no matter how much you want to stop. But with Neuro Reprogramming, it actually rewrites that behavior loop. So it could look something like this. If I get the same feeling of loneliness or stress or overwhelm, instead of it leading me into adult content, it now leads me into healthier things. I can walk over to the next room, get some water, feed my dogs. Sometimes at this point, I just sit it out because the urges aren't urges. They're just thoughts. They're like brain junk instead of actual urges. It's weird. And it's not just me that this works with. I've helped guys as young as 18 years old all the way up to 65 years old. Because a beautiful thing about our brain is it's a learning machine. So as long as we understand the loops that it goes through, we have the opportunity to actually rewrite these loops if we choose to. So as long as you have a brain, Neuro Reprogramming will work for you. So how does this actually work? Well, let's break down the behavior pattern. What we actually do is track the urge, which means we're going to track the trigger. So every time you get triggered to go back to adult content, you're going to log it in the trigger tracker. And what this does is it allows you to see where the urges are actually coming from and what usually starts this loop. And without understanding this, it's easy to fall back into the pattern and not know how you actually got there. I'll give you the trigger tracker in the link below. So whenever I filled it out, this is how it usually looked like for me. The trigger would be me being on social media or me laying in bed at night. Whatever activity I was doing, whenever I got the urge, I wrote it down and I tracked it. Because once we're actually able to see the pattern of what the brain loop is, then we're able to disrupt it. So you're going to be able to rewire your brain. Instead of continuing to scroll on social media, what we're going to train your brain to do is put your phone down ASAP, walk into the next room. Because a change in your environment leads to a change in your state. So if you can manage your state and manage how you feel, then you can take control of the decisions that you make. Because let me ask you this, if you're sleep deprived and stressed out of your mind, do you think you'll make the best decisions? Probably not. And to make this even easier, a huge part of Neuro Reprogramming is a few audios that I give to each and every one of my private clients. Some people like to call it hypnosis. Some people like to call it meditation. Others like to call them affirmations. I don't really care what you call them because they work. They're the best way to actually rewire your brain because they work on a subconscious level. What these audios do is help you install new if-then protocols. So we're basically switching out, if I feel stressed, then I go to pornography, to If I feel stressed, then I take a walk around my neighborhood. Or if I feel lonely, then I go to the living room, pick up the phone, and call my family. It's simple. Your brain works on systems, so we're just switching the inputs and outputs. And finally, we're going to change your environment to set yourself up for success. One example that I love to give is how when I actually started tracking my triggers, I realized I got the urges late at night, basically every single night, and it made it very easy for me to relapse. So one way that I changed my environment to set myself up for success was I got rid of having my phone in my room at night. It sounds simple, but I started charging it in the kitchen, and I bought an alarm clock to wake myself up in the morning. So not only did I wake up on time, but I also removed the opportunity for me to relapse at night. So I tracked the urge and built a plan around it to set myself up for freedom. Because as you've heard, behavior follows environment. So make the old path hard to go down and the new path the easiest option to choose. And after we get that done, all that's left to do is make sure that you actually follow the process to actually break free. And as of right now, everybody that joins the Neuro Reprogramming training will get personalized coaching. This can be one-on-one or in very small groups, just depending on what you like. But either way, you will be having conversations every single day with us to make sure that you can actually stay up to date with the program and follow the entire process step by step so you have everything you need to actually break free. And just breaking this down for you guys gives me chills because, like I mentioned, for 10 years, I was in the dark about this. I didn't know anyone else that would help. I didn't know anyone else going through this. And I didn't even know if it was possible for me to quit. It wasn't until I spent thousands of dollars, literally everything left in my checkings account. I flew over to Austin, Texas to get trained by the top behavior specialist. And only then did I learn how to rewire a human brain to turn any bad habit into old news. And ever since then, I tailored everything I knew specifically into quitting pornography. And like I mentioned, I've been able to help myself out of this and now over 300 men to freedom. Although the men that I've helped and that stuck through the process, they found their confidence, they found their productivity, they found better relationships because they were able to quit pornography. By no means was this journey easy. I'm here to make quitting possible and achievable, but I cannot make it a walk in the park. There will be tough times. There will be times that you want to quit. But it's very important that you keep your head in the game long enough and stick with me during the process. It's kind of like going to the gym. Mid-workout, you may want to quit, but if you do, you're never going to see what you're actually capable of becoming. So if this sounds like a process that you can get behind and you're actually ready to quit the P word for good, then click the link down below because I have 2 gifts for you. One is a relapse protocol training where I break down the step-by-step of what we just covered to help you actually break free. Or if you want a deep dive into your situation, schedule a root session call on the next page. So click the link below and fill out your information and then schedule a call with us so that we can give you a custom-made plan tailored to your situation to actually build a life to freedom. If you're actually ready to quit, just click that link down below and we'll see you soon. Or if you're watching this because you already scheduled the call with us, then I'm also excited to see you very soon. Other than that, peace.